back to Brotherly Beliefs, Faith, Family, and Fun. I'm Malik.
And I'm Tristan. Join us for candid talks about life tapestry, from the faith that binds us to the family that shapes us to the pure fun woven in every moment. So grab a cup of coffee and let's dive into the heart of our story in an episode of Brotherly Beliefs. So, I've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
What does the difference between sympathy, empathy, and compassion mean to you?
To me. So I know sympathy is like, in comparison, it's almost like pity, but not in a degrading way. It's like feeling sorry for someone, you know what I mean? Like sympathy is like, and I feel for you, you know what I mean? And empathy, it's man, what is empathy?
Okay. So they're very close in definition.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll start with sympathy and empathy.
Yeah.
Right? So sympathy is the understanding of your feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So say we'll go back to when my dad died.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sympathy is my dad died too. I know how that feels.
Yeah.
Okay. Empathy is feeling that person's pain. Right?
Mm.
I feel for you. I know what that's like, and I feel for you, right? So the difference is one causes disconnect, one causes deeper connection.
So empathy would be that deeper connection.
Yes, right? So there's a disconnect between, I know what that's like. Or, my dad died too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It brings you together when you're like, man, I know how that feels.
Yeah.
And so, what is compassion? Do you know what compassion is?
Compassion? I'd almost say it's like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Right? When you're compassionate, you try to alleviate people's pain or alleviate people's feelings,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, casseroles. That's why casseroles are a thing, right? You ever heard about people when people die, they bring neighbors and stuff, and family members bring over casseroles, right?
Yeah.
So when you're empathetic, you can be compassionate, right? And you can, I know you're going through a hard time. You may not feel like cooking dinner tonight. Here's something to help you.
All right. Yeah.
When they give money to people, that's compassion,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like get well soon flowers.
Yeah. So
they don't do anything.
When's the time that you've been given like compassion and just like one of each, you know?
So when have I been like shown empathy and compassion?
Yeah.
That's a good question to put me on the spot on.
Because I know when there's been several times like when I lost my grandpa or my papa, like you said, a lot of people show compassion. They'll like one time when my grandpa passed, my aunt brought like rotisserie chicken and stuff, so that way we wouldn't have to eat or wouldn't have to worry about eating and stuff like that. That was compassion. And they showed another form of compassion when I lost my aunt. The people at work raised like money and stuff to go towards the funeral and things like that. And empathy, several people have lost their grandparents and things like that I know. So they like, look, I know how that was, you know what I'm saying? And then I was able to do the same thing when it was someone else that was in that situation, you know? So, and then sympathy, I mean, 9 times out of 10, almost everybody is going to show you sympathy whenever you're going through a hard time. So,
yeah. And I feel like, but sympathy is just the like kind thing to do.
Right, yeah. It's almost
I got
like,
a flat tire. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, for real.
Like
Bad
it's not
situation.
empathy. Showing empathy and compassion would be, man, I know what that's like. You're by yourself. Here, I got a jack. It's better than your little jack in your trunk. Let's jack this up, get the tire off, and I'll take you to go do. That's empathy and compassion.
Yeah,
rather than,
right.
Man, that's a crappy situation.
Empathy and compassion is more of an action.
Yeah, so
Action thing.
I can tell you, the truck, right? The truck broke down. Oh, baby Bertha.
Yeah, loud.
Oh, yeah, loud.
Yeah.
No, but it broke down, and some old Vietnam vet guy, and I know that because he had the hat on, and at least 70, 80 years old, got out of his car and helped me push it. And so, but yeah, but compassion, right? So we can go, when my dad died, I don't know, there was sympathy, right? Because in order to show empathy, you have to know what it's like, right?
Yeah.
So you can't show empathy because your dad's still here, like your biological dad's still here.
Yeah.
And so you can only have that sympathy. Man,
Yeah.
I assume that sucks, and
Yeah,
I want to feel for you, but I don't know what that pain's like.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin has the same thing, right? She can't feel my pain. She doesn't know. She knows that I'm hurting. She understands that I'm hurting, and she understands the way I feel. But so you can be sympathetic and still have compassion, right? So Caitlin trying to make my life easier, like, oh, I'll take care of this, this, and this. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, and so that'd be my, and I think knowing the difference is so important in a relationship, right? Because you may not understand how I feel, but you should still have that compassion. You should still try to alleviate that feeling, even though you don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't know what it feels like, but you only understand it, right? So, and you should have that sympathy no matter what when it comes to your partner's feelings.
Right.
Because you should always be trying to understand how they feel, no matter what it is. Maybe you don't agree with how they feel, but it's how they feel. That is their truth. May not be your truth in this situation. It's looking at. So there's this whole story that I heard once, right? Two people are standing on the opposite sides of a lake. They can't see each other, right?
Yeah.
One throws a pebble, right? The other one can't see them throw the pebble, but the pebble goes really far, right?
Yeah.
He says, I threw a pebble and there was a splash. The other guy says, a fish jumped. Who's right?
Right, yeah. Two stories, or there's two stories and then the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, he threw the pebble, but he only saw the splash.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and that's every situation, right? So you're going through something with Savannah. I'm going through something with Caitlin. Whatever it may be, you have to break it down. And when you don't understand, say that. And and the important part is you have to be able to say that, and they have to be able to stop and listen, right? They have to be able to say, okay, right? I have to be able to say, okay, Caitlin can't, I can't understand Caitlin, or Caitlin can't understand me. Okay, we'll do Caitlin can't understand me. Caitlin can't understand me. How do I explain this so she can?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get in a 2-hour tangent, and then something clicks, and she's like, okay, yeah, I got it now.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with her, right? Caitlin does her best, and Caitlin tries so hard to explain things in the way that I can understand it. But I struggle to understand Caitlin. Women are complicated,
Yeah.
right? That's the division.
Uh-huh.
That's the division between women and men,
Yeah.
right? Because men are so simple, women think we're complicated. No. You're so complicated that my simpleness is complex to you.
Yeah, right.
It's like, man, I don't feel good. Your tummy hurts? No. Oh, you feel like you're going to throw up? No. I just don't feel good. Like, that's it. Like, it's just an overall feeling like I don't feel good. Like,
yeah. And then you got to wonder, like, what do I have to do to help this?
yeah, like it's, and so it's just like, that's truly the division. And how do you close that gap? You know, breaking it down, breaking down all of these topics because this is the reality, right? And I won't say every woman in the entire world, but majority of them have an attitude, right? I'm sure Savannah does this. Has an attitude, and you're like,
you sound sure. You know she does. That's your sister. Yeah.
what's wrong? Nothing. No, seriously, what's wrong? Nothing.
Mm.
No, what's wrong? I said nothing's wrong. You sure?
It's like it don't seem like nothing's wrong. I think what'll help in that situation is like it would help if they were just like, or if anyone for that matter was like, I'm going through something right now. I don't really feel like talking about it, or I'll tell you about it later, or just go about it a different way. You don't have to have an attitude or be rude to somebody about it. And I do this a lot whenever I do something that irritates Savannah or whatever. She'll come at me with an attitude then or later, and I'm like, what happened? Like, did I do something? Like, if I did something, let me know so I can avoid it in the future, or I can apologize for it then. And then, it's one side, mainly the women, will decide, let's argue. and then it'll go from there.
It doesn't, like, if I do something that makes you mad, you don't have to sit here and, like, not talk about it. You can be like, yo, that pissed me off. Like,
yeah.
That you rubbed me the wrong way when you said this.
Right.
I shouldn't have to guess or assume
what
I said. Just tell me how it made you feel, because chances are it didn't make you angry, right? Anger is a cover-up, right? Mm. So how do you explain it? So when people are angry, it's a defense mechanism in order to not have to be vulnerable, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of seeming weak or anything like that, you show anger, because it's like, and it gives you power.
Yeah, it's right? Like something bothered you, and then you're covering it up with being angry.
Yes. So when people fight for control or are controlling in relationships, it's all fear-based, 100% of the time. You can argue with me, you can tell me I'm wrong. I know this for a fact, right? Because I've struggled with this. So, with that being said, right, we can go fear of abandonment, right? Or we'll do fear of abandonment, right? Yeah. So fear of abandonment, control shows up in ways of you can't wear that out there. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. Right? And so, or who's there? What are you doing? Right? Mm-hmm. And so now you're fighting for control in a way that conquers those fears, in a way that eases those fears, when all in reality fears are going to come and go, right? So I can spend my time being afraid that the rapture's coming. There's a good one, right? I can sit here and be afraid of the rapture. Like, boy, I've given my life to God. I know Jesus is my Savior. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Or I can continue to live my everyday life through Christ, walk with God.
And with the satisfaction that you won't be there when the rapture happens.
Exactly. So it's the same concept. You can wait for the other shoe to drop, or the other shoe to drop. I think that's what the saying is. Is that the saying?
I don't know.
You're waiting for the other shoe to drop? I think that's how it goes.
I'll take your word for
it. That's how it goes. You can sit there and wait for the other shoe to drop, but if it's never gonna drop, then what?
Right.
That's a big problem in today's society. If you look at relationships, right? And people are so afraid of commitment. Dude, it's not that scary.
Yeah.
It's not. Genuinely. So you have two people who want to be Mike Tyson, and they're just sitting in a ring waiting for the other one to punch them. Well, guess what? You have no intention of punching each other. Oh, someone fell, and then boom. Now, what? And so, I don't know, man. It's all just complicated. Yeah. Life is complicated.
Yeah, for real. It's like a big game.
Yeah, man, and it's like a big chessmate.
Checkmate.
No, not checkmate. The game that chess game.
Yeah, chess game.
I've been having a stroke for the last week. I swear to God. No, it's not even funny. Like I used to have a really bad stutter, and boy, I've been stuttering really bad the last week, man. It's like words and me aren't
like
friends.
a little bit of a speech impediment.
Man, mind your business. No. No, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you close that gap of communication? Like, how do you, like, I guess that's really what the conversation is what, how do people close that gap of, and not even just in relationships, period, right? Like, you see people who are afraid to stand up and speak their mind, like, in things that they really believe in, and for what? Why not say your piece? If today was your last day, like, why live in the regret of not saying and making that change, whether you wanted to try a new hairstyle or whatever it may be, right? Just do it. Just do it. It's like me in control.
Nike, you should sponsor us.
It's like me, right? I used to have problems with control, right? And something just doesn't go away. You deal with it, right? And so now I try my best to control things I can't control, right? When I feel like my life's out of control and whatever, and make changes that won't bother anybody else. They just got to do with me. Change your hairstyle, change your style, like what kind of clothes you wear. And yeah, man, it's just, control's a funny thing. Fear's a funny thing. Fear. Oh, that's what I was saying. To go back on subject was anger, right? So you can be angry. Anger is a cover up, right? So if more people could just stop and take that deep breath, ground themselves, center themselves, and say, man, I'm not really angry right now. I'm actually hurt. You hurt my feelings. You made me upset.
Yeah.
And you made me upset by saying this one thing. Or you're being triggered of fear of abandonment. You made me feel like you're going to leave me because I came to you with how I feel. So instead of doing that, you get angry and you get mad and you say, "Oh, you do this." No, take a second and just say, "You know what? You made me feel alone. You made me feel this. You made me feel that," and like solve the problem, right? Because a lot of times you see people who just argue back and forth, and what does that accomplish? Nothing. Like, doesn't accomplish a thing. Like,
a lot of arguments can be just avoided because due to just mature conversations. Like, someone has a problem, you're like, hey, you made me feel this way when you did this or said this. Like, I'm hurt because of that. And the other person's reaction depends on if that's like a mature conversation or not. Like, in that state, you could tell me something bothered you, and I could either choose to be like, well, you did this, or that's like, just go on the defensive mode, or I could just really like take a second, think about it, like, wow, like I didn't mean to do that. Like, I'm apologizing. You know what I mean? So just your choice and attitude and things like that can really decide like how a conversation can go.
Yeah, and you have to have self-empathy. You have to feel for yourself. Like, you have to be self-empathetic and say, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm going to make it a word.
Yeah,
because you have to be like, man, not to the point where it's self-loathing, right? Where you just pity yourself or self-pity. Like, that's detriment. Ow. That's darn. You can't self-pity yourself where it's detrimental, right? And then you can't self-pity so much that you're
just helpless.
Yeah, and you're self-destructive.
Yeah.
Right? You can't like, just because something is so good, or like, it's all like, you can't comprehend how good something can be, right? So in relationships, people you'll see people who goodness gracious. See, told you that's stuttering.
You're
You see
good.
people who are in good relationships and who have the communication and this, that, and another, and they're seemingly perfect, and then you see someone go out and do something to self-sabotage that, right?
Mhm.
So you can't feel so bad for yourself that you do the same thing.
Right.
You can't be like, man, like, this sucks.
Like
Well,
you almost think you're owed something in life. Like, man, I've been through so much, or this sucks. So like, I should be given this, or you just something sucks and you just like sit there and expect something to happen
or
for
vice
you.
versa.
Right.
You've
Yeah.
had so much bad done to you. This is too good to be true. I don't
Yeah.
deserve this.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, you're tripping. And so when people are so low on their pity, rather than worrying about how to get back up, they dig themselves down further.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So something bad happens and they turn to something even worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drugs, alcohol, anything like that. Because those are all instant relief, right? So your phone, right? Netflix, social media, YouTube, I don't care what it is, right? It all ends. That episode ends, that TikTok ends,
Mm-hmm.
that reel ends. And at some point you have to stop scrolling. At some point, like, it all ends. And it's fast relief, instantaneously. If I'm sad right now, I can get entertainment and some sort of fulfillment from my phone. I can sit there and I can scroll on Facebook, I can scroll on TikTok, whatever it may be. But the moment that I'm done, it's over. The moment I get drunk and I sober up, it's over. The moment I get high, whatever it may be, it's over at some point.
Mm.
And then you're stuck in the same position. I can tell you 100%, I had abandonment issues from my dad as a kid, right? Still do. 100% still do. I turned to drugs and alcohol, right? I don't really go into too much detail about my child, like about what I was doing. I usually say, I wasn't a good person. But I had a conversation with a kid at work, and I really genuinely think I made a breakthrough to this kid, right? And so I don't care who it is, where they're at, like 100%, if you were in this position, you can get yourself out, and I'm living proof.
Yep.
I drank. I smoked weed. I popped all kinds of pills, did all kinds of crazy things, right? I did not live a lifestyle of God. I did not. I ran the streets. I hung out with terrible people, like, and not terrible people as in at heart they weren't good people,
Just the
but
things they did.
the actions they did were just bad. And I prayed to God that they find their way out and they turn over a new leaf and they figure it out. But I was deep, and I never dealt with any of the problems that I had. I never every feeling that I had, I didn't communicate it with anybody. I soaked it all up. Everything. And so in exchange, I turned to drugs and alcohol, and it's all instant relief. And let me just premise this by saying I didn't do no crazy hard drugs. I wasn't out here like hooked on heroin or meth or anything, nothing like that. And so I would just chase the next one, man. The next drink, whatever it was be. And it wasn't drinking to have fun. It was drinking to numb. Smoking to numb. And so you get done and you're sitting there in a room by yourself and you're completely sober and you have all this flood of emotions and you don't know what to do. You don't know how to handle it when you don't have these things in front of you. Like and this is they're all self-destructive. Because at some point you have to face reality.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wait too long, your reality is going to be too crappy and too shitty to really understand that, like,
It could turn your life around.
yes. And so you're going to wait and wait and wait and wait. Your reality is only going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to come out of it, and then you're going to have so much on your plate and in your reality that you're not going to know where to go. It's going to be self-consuming.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to consume you, and you're going to be right back in the same position because you don't know how to deal with these things. So if you're dealing with these issues, find help. Talk to someone. Go to therapy. Go to AA. Go to NA. Go to rehab. Whatever it may be, because the sense of like reality that you're in is not real. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects everyone around you. My dad.
Know it or not?
Yes, my dad spent as long as I've known him, my father, and God rest his soul. He was a drug addict. That's the truth, and that's plain as day. And so, it has an effect on your kids, your significant other, my mom, right? When they were married, had an effect on her, right? And so, you're not only like destroying yourself, but you're destroying the people around you.
And the people you love. And the people who love you.
The people who love you. And that's the important part, right? The people who even though you do them wrong, still love you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know for a fact I fought tooth and nail for my dad to get sober. I was supportive every time. And that brink of hope hurt just as much the last time as it did the first time. Because I can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
I am powerless in this situation. He held all of the power. And he pulled at your heart, the strings on your heart, like you were a puppet, like I was a puppet, and what? Like, where? And you're stuck in the cycle. And I think that's also how it's so easy. Like, people who come from that background where they've had somebody pull at the strings of the heart and be in this toxic relationship with their parents, why it's so easy for them to get stuck in a toxic relationship. Like, non-platonically, right? So in real relationships, it's so easy for them to get stuck in this toxic cycle because that's all they've ever known. You could see it in different aspects, right? When kids grow up in domestic violence homes, they go one of two ways. They think it's okay to beat their wife or their significant other, or they are 100% against it.
Mm-hmm.
Same, and it's the same way with so many situations, right? Toxic environments. You grow up in a house with parents who sell drugs, right? You have two options. You fall into the cycle or you break it.
Mm-hmm. That goes along with generational curses, too.
I don't believe in a generational curse. I don't. 100% I don't. How many people do you know made it out the hood?
I don't know anyone.
You don't know anyone who made it out the hood?
Not personally, no. I'm sure there are. There's several. But me personally, I don't know nobody.
Okay. Here's a good example. Think about, I guess we're still young, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing, right? So think about how many people have made it on YouTube who came from nothing. Mm-hmm. Think about how many rappers came from nothing, right?
And athletes.
Yes, everything. I know people who started business after being in serving 15, 20-year prison sentences, right? And so you can't tell me there's a generational curse when these people have fell into that cycle
and made it happen.
And made it out. It's not a curse.
Mm-hmm. It's a choice.
Yes, it's based on laziness and drive.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you pick up your Bible, you read it, and you find that motivation, you find that drive in God. You'll have endless riches, and you'll have and you'll make it as far as God can throw a stone. Not you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
All in God's hands.
100%. And I think when people say, and I don't care about race, religion, sex, anything, right? When people say, oh, well, this is where I come from. Okay, change it.
Mm-hmm.
Write your own story.
Mm-hmm.
You pick up that pencil and you rip up that top page of whatever, my mom died, my dad died, da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever happened. You rip that page off and you start writing a new story.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many people pick up a piece of paper and a pen and write 200-page novels every day? You can do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Write your own story. Stop letting people write your story for you.
It starts by you starting.
Yeah, and that's it. It's literally just
do it.
think about the biggest guy you know. Was he always big?
Nope. Chances are no.
I can tell you, in the Army, right? I was deployed with guys who were built like me. 5 years. They're massive.
Mm-hmm.
Bodybuilder physique. Huge. In 5 years. You know what it takes? Hard work, discipline, motivation, getting up. And not even, I won't even say motivation.
Discipline.
Right? Discipline. Drive. Because there is no motivation on some days.
Right.
There's no, and motivation can be toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Motivation can be self-detrimental. Right? So some people find motivation in, I want to look good for my wife. Well, that's not a goal that's achievable.
If motivation is your only way of drive, you're going to fail.
100%. Because, and we'll use the podcast as an example. I don't care if one person watches this or 150 million watch this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get up and I'm going to put everything I have into this podcast.
Yep. Every time, every episode, every second, every minute.
Because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy just
it's
sitting here
therapeutic.
talking. Yeah, it is. And in some days I have more to talk about than others. And today I was just rubbed the wrong way at the right time. That's the truth. Is I got messages from my team leader, like Army-wise, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. Because who do you think you are? An Army or not? I'm a human being.
Yeah. We both bleed the same.
Like, you can outrank me, and I will respect your rank when it's time to respect your rank. But as a leader, you should be able to have compassion and empathy 100% of the time. If you can, or sympathy, right? If you can't understand or you don't know what it's like to be in my position, then you should try to understand how I feel. And if you can't, then you should not be a leader, 100%. Oh, well, that makes a weak army. I don't give a flying rats behind what it makes. I guarantee you have a higher retention rate. Everyone's talking about, the retention rate's so low in the military, Well, maybe if you took better care of soldiers, they would care about staying in. You pay them what they're worth. They make more money flipping burgers at McDonald's than we do in the Army. Oh, that's crazy. And I'm talking about, I was just on my deployment. I got paid, active duty pay, BAH, all of that. BAH, it's their entire calculation is wrong. They're supposed to be able to pay for housing, right? No. I don't know one place here that I can get a place to live for less than, it's like $850 I was getting paid a month. $850 with a good neighborhood? Like, what? No.
Yeah, no.
No. There's no way.
Not at all. And if you can, $850 will pay for rent, and that's it.
No.
And that's if you can find a place that can you pay that much for. And this is one of the cheaper places to live in the world.
Yeah. Kansas in general is.
Mhm.
Like, I'd buy a house out here. That's
Mhm.
it. Only because it's so cheap.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, man, it's just care about people.
Yeah.
Really. Understand what someone's going through.
Mm-hmm.
Understand what you're like, and understand what you're going through. Take time to learn you, to love you, and to understand yourself.
Mm-hmm. Self-love is the best love. You can't love anybody else without truly loving yourself.
Yeah. Speak about how you feel. I don't care if men don't cry. No, BS.
Yeah, that's what society.
You know what soft men do? Don't cry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you, the men who aren't crying are showing anger,
Mm-hmm.
who aren't in touch with themselves,
Mm-hmm.
who are weak-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because rather than saying,
And women will love a man that can like cry and express their feelings to them.
yeah,
Open up.
a grown woman. Let's be
Yeah,
very,
yeah,
very
exactly.
a true woman, a woman in
Yes.
her true state.
Because a true woman will also not use that against you.
Yep.
They will not use that against you, or they will not like run their mouth about the situation.
Yeah. Because the true, like, and that's just, what happens in our relationship should be just that. This is a relationship between two people.
Mm-hmm. 3.
Yes, God.
Mhm, yep.
But God's not a person. It's got a person.
He is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
But is he a person?
Yeah. He's a spirit. He did come as man.
He's everything, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm.
Jesus was his human version, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying,
Yeah, we can get back to the point.
yeah, anyway. But yes, so God included, right? But it's not Sally Sue's business down the street.
Yeah.
It's not your mama's business. It's not my mama's business. It's not
Mhm.
anybody else's business except ours. Because the truth of the matter is if every problem I ever had in my relationship, I ran my mouth to my mom, her view is skewed.
Yep. Absolutely.
Your view is skewed. Savannah's
Mhm.
view is skewed. Whoever may be, their view is skewed.
Regardless of if they tell you that or not.
Yep.
Everybody has their own perspectives.
And so this is the best advice I've ever received. Or I've ever heard. I guess I didn't receive it. I saw it. Right? If you call 5 people right now, the 5 people you would talk about your relationship with, when you get done asking them for that advice, there's 2 options they're going to push you towards: leaving or staying.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be calling the 5 people who tell you to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. You want a godly marriage and a godly relationship, you shouldn't be calling the people who are going to tell you to leave. You call the 5 people who are going to tell you to stay, who are going to find a reason for you to stay, who are going to make you think when you're at your lowest and you're like, man, I could walk away right now. Call the 5 people who will convince you to stay. They'll give you damn good reasons to stay. That's the truth. If your 5 people aren't going to tell you to stay, you need to find new ones.
Elaborate more on that.
Elaborate. Okay, so Savannah's one of those 5 people. My 5 people, right? Because I can call Savannah and be like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I think. She'll be like, Kaylin is a great person. That's nothing. No.
She's going to tell you the truth, whether
Yeah.
it's something you want to hear or what you don't want to hear.
But she's not going to say
But
leave.
yeah, right, exactly. That's different. She's not just going to tell you,
Yeah.
just
She'll
leave.
say,
She's going to tell you.
this is not something you leave for. This is a problem. This is not
Mm.
okay. This needs to be addressed. But this is not something you leave for.
Mm.
Just say, you leave for 2 things. Abuse and cheating. Me and Caitlin have the same rule.
Mm.
Abuse and cheating. Adultery. Like, it's... And those are the only reasons... I genuinely believe those are the only reasons why you should get a divorce.
Mm.
Genuine, in my heart. If your husband or wife abuses you or your children, bounce out. First time, that's it. Bounce out.
Mm.
If they cheat on you, that's your own decision.
Mm.
That's your own personal belief. But if someone came to me and asked me my opinion, I'd say it's up to you. I support you either way.
Mm-hmm.
If you said if Savannah came to me and was like, me and Malik got in an argument over the light bill, and I'm just over it. I'm just done. You're stupid. I'll call it as I see it, and
that's like a super small issue.
Yeah, but that was just an example,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He wants to buy a new car, and I don't think it's a good idea. I'm leaving. I'm done. He's not listening to me. Okay, well, you're stupid. Like, because that's reasons people. I don't love him anymore, or I'm bored. This is a good example. I'm bored. So what?
Yeah, for real.
So what? Boo-hoo, cry about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's normal. It's normal to get bored in a relationship. You know what's really boring? Peace.
People live for the thrill.
Yeah, and that's the truth. Is peace is boring.
Mm.
Knowing that I come home to you no matter what. Okay. Like, that's why people are self-destructive and start arguments, right? You see people who are so used to toxic relationships, they start arguments because, man, there hasn't been an argument in a while. Or you just enjoy the peace. Peace is boring. I'm sorry to tell you, it is boring.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it interesting. You have to put effort into making it interesting in a healthy way, right? So trips, right? That's so important. And I can also say, I don't believe in taking trips without your kids. Like, out of state, I don't believe in taking trips without your kids. That's my own personal belief. You created a family to experience life with your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying under the age of 18, not grown. I'm saying as long as they live in your house, they should be able to go with you. 100%. If you're going on vacation, you make a way for them to go to. You can't afford for them to go to Las Vegas. Well, looks like Branson's on your list.
Yeah.
It's just, that's just and you don't have to spend a lot of money to get that excitement and that time away with your family, right? There's places like Turner Falls, right? You can go camping. You can go anywhere. You can take day trips, amusement parks, anything like that. And you'll get that same fulfillment. And you're not spending as much as if you were going to Las Vegas, cruises, Greece, whatever you may be. And if you can't afford it, then you wait till you're at a point where you can. You save up. We don't take a trip every year, but every 2 years we do. It takes 2 years for us to save up the money for our family trip. Every 2 years we go on a trip, right? Of course you want to get it down to every year. Every year we take a family vacation. It's great. It's fun. It's a blast. But you might have to start at the 2-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
And if your ultimate goal is, when I retire, I want to be taking a trip every 6 months, every 3 months, whatever it may be, put yourself in a position to do that. Save, right? People, especially young people, are so worried about the now and having fun now. They don't think about 10 years, 15 years, 25, 40 years in the future. I'm young. I have so much. I'm young. I have a life to live. You do. You do. And at some point, like, think about how hard it was to get your first photo shoot. Easier the second time, easier the third time, easier the fourth time, right? So you start right now at 20. You start at what, 20, 19?
19.
Yep, 19 years old you started. Think if you waited 20 years to follow your passion, 30 years to follow your passion.
Mm-hmm.
39, 49 years old, 30, 40, 50 years old, and you're starting your passion. Think about how far you're going to come. Starting at 19, you learn every in and out of the industry. You learn how to do this. Starting at 19 years old, by the time you're 30, it'll be a cakewalk.
Mm-hmm.
You start at 30, 40, 50 years old, you've cut your time in half.
Mm-hmm.
Your 20s are not the time to live, party, and do none of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to sink your heels in and build whatever empire you want to build. Build your legacy. So when you get to 40, 50, 60 years old, you're enjoying your legacy.
Mm-hmm. You kick your feet up.
Like,
you don't have to work.
Like, there's no, like, there shouldn't be I don't know, man. And that's just genuinely what I believe. Like,
mm-hmm.
I see people who are out partying and drinking every weekend and sacrificing time with their kids, and those are the moments you don't want to miss.
Mm-hmm.
I will miss every party, every night out to enjoy a night with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I will. That's just the fact of it. Because those moments matter the most. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to wish you saw all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You should be focusing on careers and family. Because if you wait too long, where are you going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Alone. 35, 40 years old. Never married. Boy, you had fun in your 20s, though. Man.
That's all that you're going to have is memories and stories to tell.
And the sad truth and the sad reality is that's women's most likely time to get married. In their 20s and early 30s. Men are more common to get married later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've already built their legacy and they already have what women are looking for. Young women are looking for. So you see the age gaps. Because they've already made it. Yes, people get married 35 to 35, or 35, 40 years old. Yes, that happens. There's 67 years old, 70-year-olds getting married like that. It happens. But, and then what? You've spent your whole life, now you have 20 years left to live. Age expectancy is 80 years old, I think. 40 years old, you've lived half your life. First 18, you didn't have any control over it.
Mm-hmm.
You could have been lucky to marry a high school sweetheart because you had your priorities straight, and then you got all this time with him. Because the truth is, I've worked really hard to work on myself and went through a lot of crazy stuff to find Caitlin, and genuinely, Caitlin's my soulmate, and I do whatever I had to do to be with her,
mm-hmm.
and change in whatever way, and put in that work in whatever way. But if I would have waited 10, 20 years old, or 10, 20 years, then the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, well, that time just got cut down. I'm 20. We got 60 years at least.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. I hope I live past 80.
All right.
Spend your 20s finding out what it means to love, date. Stop going out and just partying and wasting those crucial moments.
Mm-hmm.
Live life,
Mm-hmm.
but you have so much life to live.
Mm-hmm. It's like, feel no judgment towards the people that go to clubs and things like that, but this is your best times to figure out what career you want to do, just to put all of your life into it, because you have so much life in your youth. There's a lot of people say, man, I can't do that anymore when it comes to drinking and then being able to go to work. You can use that youth instead of that, put it towards what you want to do in life, your career. Use that youth to be able to grind out. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he was like, why would I put in 8 hours for a company, for somebody else, and not put in the rest of the time that I have in a day towards what I want to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead of going to parties and things like that every weekend and things like that, and when I was doing that, I wasn't working on my business and stuff like that. I was living life. But I spent that year doing that, and I'm grateful for that. And now I've been spending the last 3 years working on my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that you want to be able to get to that point in life before you get to the age where you're like, man, I can't do it like I could back then. You know what I mean?
Try everything.
Yeah.
You don't like your job, quit.
Yep.
Genuinely. 100%.
Take a risk.
Like, if you do not like your job, find a new job, put your 2 weeks. It's important, right? Because a lot of people don't understand the importance. A lot of young people don't understand the importance of a 2-week notice, right?
Yeah.
Because if I don't know if I don't like this job, you are 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When they see your application, they're like, oh, he jumped around from here to here to here. Yeah, that's normal for a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, then find what you're passionate about, hustle it out, grow in that company, and like do what it takes to succeed in that career field, right? Because so many young people are like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out. Use your 20s to figure it out. Whether you're in college, whether you decided not to go to college, just figure out what it is you like and what you enjoy and do it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make a difference? Find what difference you want to make. Where? Because I want to make a difference is such a vague topic. There's so many subcategories, right? You want to make a difference in law? Okay. Find out what it takes to be a senator or whatever. Like, figure it out and do it. Because I bet you at some point there's somebody who has the same passion you do and made a business off of it. And if they haven't, then start a new business.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, man, every day, if you have and this is how so many products are made, right? Somebody's like, man, I hate how my banana goes bad if I cut it in half. Now they have something to cover the half of the banana. Do I have that problem? No, I don't. I just eat the whole banana.
Mm-hmm.
I break it. I don't bite it. I break it. I don't bite it. But I eat the whole banana, right, in one sitting. But somebody had the problem, maybe with kids, whatever it was, where they cut a banana in half, and now they have a product to save that other half of the banana, right? And so you won't know if something will succeed unless you put in the effort to do it.
Yeah.
Listen to people's problems, right? Because if you listen to enough people's problems and you see there's a correlating thing to all of these people's problems, you just got yourself $1 million idea, and
now you have to go execute it. Write that plan down and go execute it, and then boom, there you go.
Yeah, and that's how it all, like, that's just how it all works. So, like, don't waste the crucial time.
Because just think, you could, instead of spending a whole year just BSing or just like going through the motions and things like that, you could spend the time figuring out what it is that you want to do, and then starting. That whole year, you just put all the BS to the side and worked on your craft. And now you got a plan for the rest of your time, like the rest a few years later, you know what I mean? So you can be at a top situation rather than if you were just BSing and playing around the whole time. Now you're in the same situation you were 3 years ago. You didn't make any progress.
Yeah, and then you're partying, and you wake up one day and now 10 years have gone by and you've partied for the last 10 years and you're still at the job that has no future. Mm-hmm. The close-ended job, like it's, and
job with job with no future, seeing the same faces that aren't getting anywhere. Like, eventually, you stop seeing certain people because they wanted to make that change.
Yeah, and you talked about like, oh, I can't do that. My body doesn't let me do that anymore. Well, when you're 20 years old, there's a lot of stuff that your body is unstoppable against.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're limber still. Like, you still have mobility. Majority, right? There's some people who don't. But use that to your advantage and try new things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Use your youth to your advantage.
Because I know people who started late. I know people who went to the Army at 32, 33, 34 years old at the top of who had waivers to even get in for their age. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I can't keep up with these young guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you would have done it when you were young.
Mm-hmm. If I had a dime for every time somebody was like, "Man, I wish I would have started at your age." Like, even at Textron or whatever, I started out there at 18. Everybody was like, "Man, I wish I would have started at your age because you could be doing this by now." You know what I'm saying? And then even with the production stuff, they're like, "Man, I wish I would have started at your age." You know what I'm saying? So if you just pick a craft, it's like as soon as you can, and then just grind out and like go crazy for it. Like, you could spend the majority of your life living in paradise, like, and not having to work hard when you're old or when things hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that is the truth, right? Mm-hmm. Because, well, I won't talk about this on the podcast because I'll talk to you about this. Can't give all the secrets away, right? But find people who are good at something in your career field, right? So you want to be and I shoot ideas all the time, right? To you. Hey, if you do this, it would open up this clientele. Mm-hmm. Oh, if you do this would put you in this direction. Mm-hmm. And
iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. Do you need my advice? Do you need my opinion? No, you don't need it. It's not required of me to give it to you. But it's there. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll never hurt my feelings by not taking my advice. Mm-hmm. We were looking at cars yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. I said I know a lot of guys who do off-roading who would love to get like shots done of their video of their freak stutter of them going off-roading, right? And them mudding and whatever else, right? They'd love videos like that. Mm-hmm. You could get this car and that would open up that clientele. Mm-hmm. You don't buy that car, guess what? My feelings are not going to be hurt.
Right, yeah.
You told me.
It was just a form of looking out.
Yeah, and it's just like, hey, this is one option, right? And no. Okay, that's fine. Look at this. And then you're like, boy, I like this one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I told you. Yeah. I know a couple of things about cars. And but that's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. I have knowledge. I don't think you're a big car guy, are you?
No.
Yeah, I am, right? Mm-hmm. My truck. You've seen me out there working on my truck. Mm-hmm. I've kept that truck running in some sketchy situations. Yeah. Sometimes it was with duct tape and zip ties, but it got me where I needed to go.
Right, A, B.
Yep. And so I have knowledge in that aspect more than you do. So, hey, okay, this is what you're looking for. All right, I got a couple options. In my head, I'm like, okay, I know a couple things you would like. Mm-hmm. Savannah's like, no, he won't like that. He won't like that. He won't like that. Watch. Get him to a car lot with me, and I'll show him a couple. Mm-hmm. He won't like all of them.
Right. But I'll at least like one.
Yep. And that's all it takes. And maybe I'm supposed to be in sales and I just don't know it.
Yeah.
No. But same thing with me, right? I do the same thing. If I have a problem with something editing-wise or anything like that, I'm going to come to the person I know who has more knowledge than me. Mm-hmm. Do you have every answer? No, you don't. Mm-hmm. Right? If not, we figure it out together. Mm-hmm. Because
And even if I don't, because that's what I want to do, I've surrounded myself
Yeah.
with people who know more than I do. So if you have a problem that I don't know, then I can just always ask one of my guys. You know what I mean? And they'll probably know.
yeah, and that's the
One
truth.
of them.
And so, just wait to party. Like, just wait. Just wait.
And
And I'm not saying
enjoy
don't party.
life, yeah. But
I'm not saying
don't make
party.
that your priority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your priority shouldn't be getting drunk. Your priority shouldn't be going out. Your priority should just be finding what it is that you want to do and where you want to go.
Like win in life. Simple as that.
Because your legacy has to start with you. You
Yeah.
have to build it. You have to build that empire.
You set the foundation for what happens the generations after you.
And like you said, it all starts somewhere. With that being said,
This has been an episode of Brotherly Beliefs.
yeah, check the description for all of the socials: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah, TikTok.
Yep, Facebook, all of it. And
And leave comments what you'd like to see in the comments and things like that, and what you liked more and what you didn't like as much. We enjoy all the feedback that you guys give us.
so,
We'll see you guys later.
see you guys later.
Peace.